Hi there, weavers and YouTubers, or is it YouTubers and weavers? Who cares? I'm still working on these projects for church. So, in the Catholic Church, infant baptism is the most common, so I'm going to get 3 infant baptismal blankets, about 28 by 28, 27 by 27, approximately, out of this project. 3 of those. And then, just in case they have an adult baptism to do, I'm making a full size. What I normally do is a prayer shawl. I'm making it that size, but it's going to be all white because that's what our priests want for baptism blankets. So, who knows? Maybe they'll use it for an adult baptism. Maybe it'll just go with one of the regular prayer shawls. I don't care. I'm still giving it to the church. Anyways, I'm getting close to the end, but I need to wind a few more bobbins. The yarn that I'm using, again, because for the prayer shawls they want acrylic, so I'm using this stuff. Whoops, get out of there. Red Heart Super Saver, white. It's very inexpensive, it's acrylic, but it works fine for what I want. So, I know it's not, a lot of hand weavers don't do stuff like that, but it works for what I want, so we'll do that. I do need to wind a few more bobbins. This yarn is so bloody thick that you can't get a lot on a regular 4-inch bobbin. One that size. This has got a little bit of leftover yarn on it, but that's, so I'm using the 5-inch bobbin. You can see the difference. Just to get more yarn on. And of course that means my bigger shuttle. I normally feel more comfortable with the smaller shuttles, but for the purpose of this, the bigger shuttle is working just fine. So there's where that I need to wind 2 or 3 more shuttles and show you that. You've seen me wind shuttles before, but I'll do it again. And then just a few shots of the weaving. Once I cut all this stuff off the loom, I got to go in and put a blanket binding on the end of it. You've seen me do that recently on some prayer shawls, so I'm not going to bother to video that. And when I'm all done, I'll show you what the shawls look like, or the baby blankets, whatever you want to call them. So let's get to doing some shuttle winding. I think most of you know that my bobbin winder is really an electric drill. And this is going to be noisy. When I edit the video, I will try and cut back seriously on the sound of this, because you're not going to hear anything else but. So let's move the camera just a little closer. There we go. Have at it. That's one. I got to do one more. I think that'll be enough for now. I just take and put a few wraps on it first, and then stick that on there, and Here we go. And there you saw that little jerk in there. I don't wind at the full speed of the drill because occasionally when they're coming out of the skein, especially when you get toward the end, these things occasionally knot up a little bit. And it jerked me back, but it didn't make me stop, which occasionally they do have to do. So that's why I usually run my drill at fairly slow speed. It's still fast enough that it beats the heck out of doing this. So, okay, couple of bobbins wound. Let's take a look at weaving. Now, hopefully I can do this without getting my shoulder so far in the way that you can't see what I'm doing. I've got a piece of grosgrain on here that I'm just using it's pinned on, and I advance the pin every couple inches, put a second pin in, just to give myself a measurement. I'm aiming for approximately 72 inches. So I've got a 36-inch piece of grosgrain that I'm using as my measuring device. Let's see, where was I last time? I was on number 11. So the next one is going to be number 5. This is that canvas weave pattern that Jane Stafford did in her first lesson of this year. And I am basically following what she said, although not following her exact draft, because hers was more offset with a bunch of things on one side and then something else on the other, and I wanted a big piece in the middle that was pure canvas weave, and then I don't remember what she called them even, but where you're doing the A and B blocks off on both sides. So there's that, and look, I've just run out of thread here. That's fine. My next one is going to be that particular shaft. Let's put that in there, and now I'll just grab a new bobbin. What I'm going to do somewhere in this video is include a screenshot of the drawdown that I did on my computer for what I'm doing here. All right, YouTubers, here is the basic drawdown for these white baptismal blankets, but as I mentioned while I was weaving, when I said I was going to show you this, I used color here in the weaving software to help me see the pattern on the screen in the software, even though the weaving is all done with pure white. So here you can see where I've got the 1/4 threads. That gives me this area that is all plain weave or tabby, depending on what you want to call it. Then here where I've got the slightly gray color, this is my A block. So you can see it's the 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1 with a 4 in between. Okay, so this is the huck and the canvas. Anyways, you can see there's my A block, then another pure white block, which is tabby, the yellow, which is the B block, tabby or plain weave, and then alternating A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. And over here is my adaptation of the treadling. Remember, my loom has 14 treadles, and I would have to sit way over on the side of the bench if I used treadles 1 and 2 for plain weave, as was 100% the correct way to do it for teaching, the way Jane did it. Especially since she was also talking to people that only had a 4-shaft loom, or maybe only had a loom that was 15 or 16 inches wide. But what I'm doing, this made sense to spread this out and make it a walking treadling back and forth like that. And even here in the A block, you can see I've spread it out, and in the B block I've spread it out so that I have walking treadling. Other than that, this is the exact same pattern that I was using, except again, the actual weaving was all one color of white. But there's my draft. And then you'll see what the pattern is. Now, the pattern that you're going to see will not match what you see here exactly, because on the computer, just to make it easier for me to understand it there, I used multiple colors. Whereas on here, I make mistakes when I talk to you and I have to unweave one row. That was stupid. As I said, on there I use multiple colors to help me see the pattern on screen. On here I'm doing everything in white. So you will see it in the pattern with the colors. I'll probably show you the red and white version of this, but that's not what I'm really weaving. Like I said, I'm doing this all in white because that's what our priests want. Put that up. Let's advance the warp just a little bit. And we better advance our piece of grosgrain here. Just take a pin and pin it up a little farther. Tighten this back up. So I got about 18 inches to go maybe from here. So in this canvas weave, you do 2 shots that are in the same shed, which means that I've got a floating selvage on each end so that I can go around it. And then I do 2 shots of plain weave. And then 2 shots of the same shed again, but in the B block instead of the A block. And then 2 shots of plain weave, or tabby if you want to call it that. And that's what gets me this pattern here. Let me see if I can aim the camera a little bit down and zoomed in. Can you see the, well, if you look, let me have a ruler here. You see these bumps right up here? They're not in the same row as these bumps. They're basically a warp float. and they're not right next to each other in lines here. But on the underside where these are, there will be excuse me, I've said this backwards. These are weft floats, and on the underside is warp floats. Over here in the middle, what I'm doing is I'm alternating warp float in this column, or weft float in this column, and warp floats with this column. So this is block A, this is block B, block A, block B, and my warp and weft floats alternate with each other, which gives me kind of a neat looking, it all locks it in because of the plane weave in between them. So you don't have to worry about it being too long a float, but it's pretty neat looking, and it looks like a bunch of little crosses, which I thought would be really neat for baptism blankets. So there's what this is. We'll weave just one or two more shots, then I'm going to turn the camera off and try and finish this thing up. Where was I last time? I was there, so the next one's got to be there. So I did, for those of you who take Jane's courses online and you look at the Treadling that I have, it will not look like hers at all. I changed it up completely to match the way I like to treadle, which basically is I wanted a walking treadling, and hers was sort of walking when you were doing the A and B blocks, the canvas weave, but when you were doing the plain weave that's along the edge, it was all one-footed, and honestly I didn't feel comfortable with that, so I changed the treadling so that I could have the plain weave be a walking treadling. So that's why mine, when you get to looking at the draft, why mine will look different. So just so that you're aware of how come this doesn't match what Jane did. It's, again, that's the kind of thing that I think any weaver can decide, here's how they feel comfortable doing that stuff. Like I say, the way she does it is absolutely fantastic for her teaching purposes. Okay? No question about that. But it didn't work for the way I wanted to weave this with the way I'm used to doing treadling. So that's the advantage of being able to understand the pattern well enough to make the changes that you want. There we are, that's enough for now. More when I get this thing off the loom and can actually show you the finished product. Okay, YouTubers and weavers, of course, the baptismal blankets, the little ones, and the large baptismal shawl are done, and it's time to have a quick look at them. So first let's look at the little baptism blankets. You can see they're a little over 25 inches, 26 inches one way and maybe 24 the other. But again, you can, if I hold it close, I'm hoping you can see the pattern in there of that canvas weave. Again, arranged differently than the sample that Jane Stafford did in her videos, but the weave structure is the same. So there's one. There's another one. And the only thing that's really different, the way you can tell them apart, is the way the A and B blocks are at the edge. So I've got a block there that shows, and then here it's just plain weave here, and a block that shows. So hopefully you can see that. I think it shows up pretty decently, at least on the little teeny screen on the camera that I can see as I'm doing the video. So there's one more. And here's the third one. Back up. You can see the full size of it. And again, I'll bring it closer so you can see the pattern right in the corner. On the other one, the pattern was here and here, and it was plain weave here and here, and so there's the difference. It's subtle, but it's there. Finally, the adult baptism shawl, this size, and it's the exact same weave structure pattern, so I'm not going to bring it in close, but it's good size. You know, if they baptize an adult, you'll definitely be able to wear one of these. So there's that. Now, so that was this baptism blanket shawl project that you just saw me doing some of the weaving on. The project that I did before this, I did not video. And that was very similar type. It was the same brand of the yarn, just that I was using colors. And I made 2 prayer shawls. And I will show these to you now as well. So, here's the first one. Wow, I can't get far enough from the camera without backing through the wall. But hopefully you can see. So again, let's try this on. Nice looking prayer shawl, I think. So there's one of them. And finally, this one. This one you can see the pattern, the weaving pattern a little better because I used a white for a contrast. So let's, you see that? You can see. So it's red, green, navy blue, green, red. And I used white weft all the way, except for a couple of stripes of navy blue. Was it navy blue? Yeah, it was. So, again, I will show you what it looks like as a shawl, if I can manage to do this straight. And there you go. Bonus shawls for this video. These are all heading up to church. They will be blessed and then set aside for the next time they, or one of the future baptisms that they have. And of course the prayer shawls are available to anyone in the parish who feels that they have a need for additional prayers and they'd like a prayer shawl. So it's just one of the extra ministries of our parish. So there you go. That's what I made, what you saw me weaving in the earlier part of this video. And personally, I'm quite happy with how they turned out. Until the next time around on YouTube, don't bother going to my Patreon page. I don't have one. Don't bother clicking like. I mean, like it if you want to, but I'm not making any money off of this. I don't monetize my videos. So just enjoy them if you like them. Subscribe if you want to see more the next time I put one out. Whatever works best for you. Until next time around on YouTube. Bye-bye.